G'day, welcome back. So a different kind of video today. This is how we bought a car to save money, which if you've ever bought a car before, you never save money. But this is what we're doing and how it's kind of working out. So let's get into it. Right, so our main family car is the Hyundai Santa Fe. It's a 2014, it's done 340,000 kilometers. It's a 7-seat, all-wheel drive with a tow bar, so it can tow stuff. Now we need 7 seats, we need all-wheel drive, we need the tow bar, but we don't need them every day. Every day we need a 5-seat hatchback that can be front-wheel drive, just for going to school, to rugby, to work, whatever. So we've got to figure out if we can save money by getting another car to take the load off the Santa Fe. Now 340,000 kilometers on the Santa Fe, still going great, but it needs a bit of maintenance from time to time now. And I've got a box of parts I haven't been able to get on the car because it's always driving somewhere. So another car would be really useful if we're going to keep the Santa Fe reliable. Now I did consider just replacing the Santa Fe with something new, and something new wouldn't be diesel. Diesel cars don't make a lot of sense anymore in New Zealand especially. So it's looking at plug-in hybrids, which there aren't too many options for 7 seats, all-wheel drive with a bit of ground clearance. And the best option is probably the Mitsubishi Outlander, which is about a $70,000 car. So I don't have 70 grand to spend on a car. I don't want to spend 70 grand on a car. I'd rather do anything else really. So we figured a second car, small hatchback, will be fine. The wife mentioned the Toyota Aqua. So I looked into it and I looked at the crash test and I thought, no, here it is. So the Aqua, as you can see, no chance we're having that. It needs to be safe, it needs to be practical, and it needs to just work and cost less money. So looked at a few other options, and when it came down to it, looking at all the factors, the two that I found worked for me on paper were the Honda Insight and the OG Toyota Prius. So we went to look at a Honda Insight. Honda Insight, I don't fit in. I don't fit in the back, I barely fit in the front. It's a bit more complicated. It's twin sparks, you've got 8 spark plugs, you've still got drive belts and stuff. A little bit cheaper than the Prius, but yeah, it looked nice, but didn't really do it for me. So we ended up with the old cliche, you want to save money, get a Prius. So we got 2011 Toyota Prius. Done 118,000 kilometers. It's a new import from Japan, which is important to the story. Heaps of room in the back, I fit in it, got a boot, perfect. Right, so why does it need to be a new import? Well, with this whole clean car rebate, ute tax, or whatever you want to call it, if you import, well, first time you register a car in New Zealand, if it meets criteria of being safe, like 3-star plus safety, low emissions or emissions based, and something else, one other thing. What's the other thing? And it costs less than 80 grand. Then you can get a rebate from the government based on how good the CO2 emissions are. So for our 2011 Toyota Prius on the road, that was $11,000 including registration. We got $1,430 back.
Cash back.
So that's a pretty good rebate on a cheap car. In New Zealand, cars aren't particularly cheap. If you want to buy anything reasonable, 10 grand's a good figure to kind of base it on. Buy a car for 10 grand, you shouldn't have too many problems. So an 11 grand Prius with $1,400 back, that means we're at the door for $9,600, which for a low mileage, decent car, sounds pretty good. So that's what we went with.
接続できませんでした。携帯電話を忘れていませんか？ETC カードが
You get that?
購入されていません。
Nah, me neither. Right, so I'll take you to the computer. We'll run through the figures of how we ended up with this, and then we'll come back and tell you how it's been so far. Right, let's start with the figures that made me go down the road of getting a hybrid. So I did a wee comparison. So you can see what our current car, the Santa Fe at the top, the Prius, which was the Prius at the time because it's easy to get the numbers from. These calculations are based on 50,000 kilometers for the year, which is about what we do. Probably that's a wee bit lower than we actually do. And fuel economy. So the Santa Fe, we've had that 3.5 years. We know how much fuel that uses. It averages around 8 litres per 100 Ks. The Prius predicted combined fuel economy is 4.2 litres per 100 Ks. So not quite, almost half as much fuel. So to cover those 50,000 kilometers, it would take 4,000 litres of diesel for the Santa Fe, or 2,100 litres of 91 RON petrol for the Prius. Fuel price, you see we got reduced here, so the government is discounting petrol, 25 cents a litre at the moment. There's no reduction on fuel cost of diesel, since there's no duty paid at the pump for diesel, but we'll get into that shortly. So when I did these calculations, diesel was $2.70 a litre, 91 RON petrol was $2.87, but it had a 25 cent a litre reduction on it. So our total fuel cost at the reduced rates, diesel for the Santa Fe, $10,800. For the Prius, $6,027. Then if we look at the full price of fuel, so in 2-3 months time when the fuel subsidy goes away, we'll be paying $3.12 a litre for petrol, diesel unchanged. So that would bring our petrol cost up from $6,027 to $6,552. For the diesel, because there's no duty paid at the pump, you have to buy a distance-based license, sorry. So you pay a cost per 1,000 kilometers, and that cost has been reduced temporarily. So that's normally $70-something per 1,000 kilometers. At the moment, we're paying $49 per 1,000 kilometers. So to cover our 50,000 kilometers at the reduced rate, which is for another 3 months, you'll be paying $2,450 in road user charges on top of your fuel cost of $10,800. When we go back to the full price, which is back to $70-something per 1,000 kilometers, that would then go back up to the $3,800 a year on top of our fuel costs. So our total cost at these reduced rates, the Santa Fe will be costing $13,250 in fuel for the year, the Prius $6,027. So at the reduced rates, we are saving $7,223 if we do all of our mileage in the Prius over the Santa Fe. Of course, we're not going to do all of the mileage in the Prius because kids go to different places, big family trips will take the big car, that kind of things. But our total savings could be up to that if we ditch the Santa Fe completely and only drove a Prius. Nobody wants to do that. So that's the most we'll save. Reality, we'll probably save 50, well, probably 60% of that. So yeah, quite a decent saving. And when our fuel goes back to where it should be, when our 25 cent a litre discount disappears and we're paying full price for road user charges, total saving will be up to $8,000. Now, of course, yeah, as I said before, we then get an extra load of insurance, extra load of registration, and an extra warranty fitness a year. So maybe take $1,000 off that, so $7,000. And we'll probably use it for 30,000 Ks of the 50,000. So yeah, saving $3,000 to $5,000 just by having a cheaper second car. budget that over 5 years, and then you can see it's quite an attractive proposition. You've got a cheap to run car, lower maintenance costs, lower running costs, plenty of space, nice and safe, and could be good. Right, head over to actual figures. So this is where we are as of having the car a while and what's happened to fuel prices and everything else. The Santa Fe Prius, same cars, mileage still at the 50,000. Economy for the Santa Fe, still 8. That's what it is. For the Prius, so our real world fuel economy has been somewhere between 4.6 and 5 litres per 100 Ks. So not as good as predicted, not as good as they sold us on, but that's still pretty reasonable. So fuel, 4,000 litres of diesel or 2,500 litres of petrol. Fuel price has dropped quite a bit. So diesel's down to $2.32 a litre, petrol $2.45 a litre. So total costs come down a reasonable chunk. 9,280 for the Santa Fe, 6,125 for the Prius. Same again, road users charge is still unchanged. So at the reduced rates, we're predicted to save less than we initially thought. What we've gone from 7,223 down to 5,600, so $1,800 less, give or take. And that's at the reduced rates. Total cost, once the fuel prices go back to where they should, where they're going to go to, we were predicted to save $8,000. That's more like 6. So still several $1,000s saving a year. Again, if you put it over 5 years, it pays for the car and then some, and gives us an extra car for taking kids to different places. So the savings are definitely there. So yeah, it looks like a good move at this stage, but we'll keep you informed as to how we actually save. This 50,000 kilometers, that's probably a wee bit light now, probably closer to 60, 65 with rugby and sports and everything else, and the wife working again. So yeah, we're definitely set to save thousands of dollars. There's good money to be saved, certainly if you kind of budget over 4 or 5 years, which realistically it's going to be fine for 5 years. It's a Toyota Prius. It's just going to tick along. It's going to get the odd dent here and there. There's good money to be saved by having a Prius, even if it means you have to drive a Prius. But so far it's working out pretty good. About 4,000 kilometers we've done in that so far. We've done some big trips with the family. We've done usual running around to school and sports and wherever, and going great so far. Definitely noticing at the pump, instead of putting $150+ a week of diesel in the Santa Fe, we're now putting like $80 of 91 in there, and still using the Santa Fe for going to other places, and it's working out really well. So yeah, quite impressed with how it drives. It's not a sports car. It doesn't go fast, but it's fast enough. Gets to 100 k's an hour, no problem. Gets a little bit faster if you overtake stuff. Brakes are good. Steering's pretty numb and detached from what's going on in reality, but it's a Toyota. It's not a driver's car. It's a car that just sits there and goes places. So that's fine. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. There'll be some videos in the future. We're going to give it a good service, bring it up to kind of scratch so we know where things are. Not a lot to service on a Prius. You got oil changes, air filters, cabin filters, CVT transmission, and some electronic brakes that you need to bleed. No drive belts or anything like that. So yeah, we'll run over that in due course. Got all the bits, and go from there. So I'll let you know if anything changes, if my opinion changes, but so far it's working out pretty well. If you want to check out the Clean Car Rebate or the Ute tax, we can get rebates from the government for buying efficient cars and get penalised for buying less efficient cars. I'll put some links below, but yeah, make the most of it, get some money off the government, and go from there. So there we go. Comment, like, subscribe. We'll see you for some Toyota Prius maintenance videos.